Yeah, so we see another one coming in here on this matter, as we see here, where the the Supreme Court, I guess, on the news coming in by Rochelle Dobkin on 7/7/24 at 10:24 at 7/7/24 at 10:23 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We see the Supreme Court did not give green light for death squad attorney. So we see here in this matter, we see in a opt for the Hill on Saturday that the U.S. Supreme Court recent ruling on presidential immunity didn't give the green light for death squad, referencing what he sees as a hyperbolic claim made by the left and the media. In a 6-3 decision Monday, the court ruled the president have immunity, and so on and so on. And a full decision came last week. Presidential GOP presidential nominee. Yeah, because a lot of it was meant to hold Donald Trump down, and we know that. So you're going to have a lot of the demon Democrats making statements of this ruling because they want to make sure that they keep the charge on Donald Trump in order for he don't win. You know what I'm saying? And then talking about if Joe Biden steps aside, Kamala steps in. That would be one of the worst mistakes they would make, because to me she's a nut, and and just like Joe Biden, she's being ruled anyway. But we see Jones. We're running Kamala for president one way or another. You could run up for president all you want. You know what I'm saying? Because Van Jones, to me, he's another deep state motherfucker as well. A lot of these people are working for the wrong sort of people. The reason why we don't really see them that way, and then they're able to come out into the public and show some kind of limelight as if they really care about you, is that the fact you really don't see them all the time, and many of us don't really give a fuck who they are. And by the time we do hear their name, they're up there trying to do the old satanic ritual by keeping the demon Democrats in our government. You know what I'm saying? So he's going on to say some old woolly walla garbage, and nobody really cared about talking about keeping her on the presidential candidate, because anybody in a rightful mind should know that it was a Biden Harris administration. So if we still have any hardcore demon Democrats that's still out there, and the regular common people that vote and calling themselves, saying Democrat or whatever they're supporting, you're an idiot, because in all ways this is why you have not achieved anything at all based on your government to begin with, and that's why you're going to have so many problems in all ways. But we see this is coming in by CNN lying ass news 15 hours ago. Saying talking about you gonna make a run. Anyways, you sending us news. Donna Barr speaks with political commentator. He ain't no political commentator. He's a political psychological reverse psychology tricky motherfucker. Calling himself, Van Jones, and some other idiot called Bar. What you got? Bakari Sala about Joe Biden continuing campaign push, admit calls for him to step aside. Yeah, step your fucking ass aside. Goodbye. We need to put these demon Democrats on definitely like support. You know what I'm saying? Where they definitely are pushed into a corner that they need to see where it's really coming from. You know what I mean? They need to see where it's coming from, because the way they see it is they rule us, and they tell us what to do no matter what we like or don't like, and they're gonna stick in to us what we like, and many other things that we don't like. You know what I'm saying? After they see outrage after Joe Biden administration reinstates barbaric Trump era hunting, I guess, ban or whatever. I mean, let me see what they're talking about. Barbaric Trump era hunting rules. Yeah, he probably was doing it to protect the polar bear, but we see the crypto administration has reinstated controversial Trump era rules, allowing what critics say are barbaric hunting practice that target bears and wolves, include pups and cubs on federal land. You know what I mean? We see where sport hunters, you know what, I'm not even going to get into that because this is something that they have been doing all along, hunting and killing the animals for sport and bullshit like that. You know, I mean, like as if like if you was in the animal's position, would you want somebody doing that to you? Hunting and killing you. Like we don't see they have two eyes, two mouths, they have teeth, they have this and that. It's just another form of being just like us. And all you could come up with is I rule the world, so I could kill everyone or some bullshit like that. And anything I want to. Uh-huh. We see Israel say it, fake ass invading Zionist group of people calling themselves Israel, you know what I'm saying, in the Gaza Strip of Africa, Egypt, you know what I'm saying, say its operation in Rafah limit limited is no they're saying that the operation in Rafah is limited. Fighting there has left parts of it unrecognizable. Oh yeah, anytime you have a genocidal, barbaric motherfucker that's running with Creep Joe Biden, the Demon Democrats, and the Zionist groups such as the Rockefellers and the Rothschilds, and many other them is who is Bill Go Gates, Andy Fauci, and all of them motherfuckers is the ones who is doing this bullshit. Of course, you know what I'm saying? And then it says here in this one, it says, we're doomed. The Demon Democrat lawmakers worry about Joe Biden interview won't save his image. Ain't gonna save nothing because the people gotta realize that you don't need these people anymore. What you need to do is find strong candidates who is going to be in it because you got to remember something. Trump is only going to get 4 more years. After those 4 years are done, you know what I'm saying, he cannot run again. So we have to make sure that we have another strong candidate, you know what I'm saying, who's right for the people, who's there for the people, who's out there for the common people, who's there to clean up our government, who's there to make sure our foreign affairs and many other things like that are well taken care of and well respected across the landscape, you know what I'm saying, of the world and the globe as a global full effect. You know what I'm saying? Not bullshit. You know what I'm saying? What talking about they Harris puts focus on beating Trump, not concerned over Joe Biden as she tries to appeal. No, she not. She ain't gonna appeal to a motherfucker, and she ain't appealing nothing to me. You know what I'm saying? And any idiot that is following behind that is going to pay a heavy price if you continue to be led like a lamb right to the slaughter, such as we saw in 2020 with the pandemic. This demon Democrat is now the best bet on best bet to beat Joe Biden odds maker. Can they beat Trump? Move a damn. If y'all let an idiot like her beat Trump, you got to be out your mood and goddamn picking mind. More House Demon Democrats reportedly want Joe Biden to quit the race. I do too, and he needs to get out. We see Russia leaves thousands in North. I guess Russians strikes leave thousands in northern Ukraine without power and water. Now you see, this is what I'm talking about, and they continue down the same road. This was all so I'm talking about the Joe Biden administration, to where now it's to the point where it's going on and on and on. We need to have candidates in there who knows how to speak to the people and who knows how to do foreign affairs. Under Donald J. Trump, we didn't have many of these problems and many things, and he knew how to speak to people, he knew how to get business done, and he knew how to negotiate, and he has a form of peace going on. Soon as the creep Joe Biden gets in office, all of a sudden we hearing the this and that. Many of these leaders probably wish he never won. You know what I'm saying? But we got niggas over here that were supporting the demon Democrats for many years. Many years. Using our good vote to fuck us up with no hope. Now it's time for you to use your vote to bring back that great hope that we need. And not just a great hope, because hope don't feed nobody. We need to bring back the reality of it. That what we as a black people must stand up in this country and take our feet put our both feet on the ground and stand up for the United States or this country in which we have lived all our lives. What we have fought for, died for, and many of our brothers and sisters even caught up in the corrupt demon democratic wars and shit have fought for. But not only that, this is our land altogether that they came and took from us. You know what I'm saying? That we must give back. We must bring prosperity to our people by all means. This is the time for us to shine, and this is the time for us to make that stand. We see the world wasn't ready for Trump in 2016. It's not. It's not making that mistake this time. Yeah, the world wasn't ready for Donald Trump in 2016 because the world was under the demon democratical mind frame of saying to themselves, you know, saying that everyone else is fucked up when the demon Democrats are the one who have been fucking up your country all along. Or we should say that many of these allegorical idiots, you know what I'm saying, like Rockefeller, Rothschilds, and these different groups created that, along probably with the Freemasons and many other groups, created that. So these are secret society cultic people. How can they possibly be running or have any influence over our government altogether? You know what I'm saying? To where you could always talk about only one person, but you're not talking about nobody else because I guess all the fear of what they do to you when you speak out. But yet still, you say it's a free state. The world is definitely ready for the great Donald J. Trump in all ways, and we must make that mistake. We must make that mistake once again. You see, look at where you go ahead. In Brussels, NATO officials, nation alliance to overthrow the world under this NATO alliance they call their New World Order, a gathering of nations. In the so-called biblical Bible of Revelation, they wrote that in there. So therefore, they tried to say that this was written prophetical by some God that they will never know or never see, but talking about NATO nations officials, you know what I'm saying, in Brussels, you know what I'm saying, have devised a plan to lock in long-term military support for Ukraine. You see what I told you? You see what I told you? You see, they have devised a plan to lock in their support for Ukraine in Russia, a nuclear nation, to push us into a nuclear apocalypse and going to try to kill all of us and blow us up in a mushroom cloud and incinerate our bodies, because it will happen that way if they all start shooting nuclear weapons. It doesn't matter once those weapons are in the air who's right or who's wrong. What's going to matter is the damage and the destruction of billions of people, just like they did in Hiroshima and Nagasaki by that blood-clad ass leader who continued to fight until they fractured. He probably was down with the bullshit. That's why they didn't drop it in Hong Kong. They dropped it in Hiroshima and Nagasaki. So we see where they want to lock in their military support for Ukraine. This must not. This must be stopped. And this is not no lock-in, and it needs to be stopped. And there should be no lock-in support to a nation inside. I mean, a group of people that are Russians, calling themselves Ukrainians, which is no more than Madame Blavatsky and Alaka Crowley, probably a fucking group, probably sitting up there in the old Russia in the backyard, talking about you locking in any kind of support for these people. This must not happen, and it must be destroyed in itself. talking about the support for Ukraine so that a possible Trump administration can't get in the way. Listen to that bullshit. They mean that they're going to push for the war against Russia by all these group of fucking idiot ass criminalized nation and pulling us and the world into a nuclear war and nuclear destruction if it ever pops off that way. Is the people of the world going to let this happen? Is the people of the world going to let creep Joe Biden and his son trump up a war using NATO and their NATO alliance that they have been forming and trying to form for years and years and years, and this is what they're going to use them for in order to pull us into a nuclear apocalypse like they wrote in their fake Bible? Well, I don't know. You better wake up and wake up now. But in Ankara, Turkish officials have revealed. Listen to who leading the way. The Ottoman Turks, the Ottoman jerks, I mean the Ottoman crooks, I mean the Ottoman Turks. Officials have reviewed the Heritage Foundation Project 2025 policy roadmap for clues into Donald Trump design on Syria. Listen to this on Syria. You see how they're trying to do everything quickly in like the jab. You know what I'm saying? In Atlanta, Augusta, and Lincoln, Nebraska, top ministers from Germany, in Canada, all crooks. Every single one I just mentioned have a crooked vibe about them in all ways. Listen to it. You know, say in Atlanta, Augustine, and Lincoln, Nebraska. You know, saying top ministers from Germany. You know, saying and Canada. Trudeau. Crooked as a motherfucker as they want to be, both of them, Germany and Canada. Leadership. I ain't talking about the regular people, I'm talking about their leadership. See, when we talk about calling out these names, saying Germany and Canada and the back, we have to talk about the crooked leadership, not just the common people. And if the common people in Nebraska and Germany and all they are supporting many of these policies, then we know you are full of shit and have not change from your wicked ways at all. Talking about Canada, have met with Republican governors to shore up relations on the American right. And in Washington, Trump return is the dominant topic at monthly breakfast meetings of ambassadors from from European countries. At one of those meetings, the top invoice from one country asked his colleagues whether they were engaged in a fool's errand. Can we really prepare for Trump? Who the fuck wrong with these idiots? The fuck is wrong with these clowns, motherfuckers? For real. Hmm? They so bent on ruling the world and have set themselves up into ruling the world in all ways that they don't even fuck what they say in the public space that will be dragged along with their garbage because you vote them in or they're in your government and you're supporting them in this garbage. I'm not saying all the people, but a great vast majority. Can we really prepare for Trump? This person asked, according to another top diplomat. Or do we rather have to wait and see what the newly reality would look like? You know what I'm saying? Folly or not, the preparations are underway. More than 6 months before the next American president takes office, there is already a extra. Let me see what it's saying. An extra a ex a ex a extraordinary advanced efforts across the NATO alliance and far beyond to manage a potential transfer of power in America. With creep Joe Biden, broke back bitch ass, listing badly in his bid for re-election. Man, he didn't win the first election, so I don't know why y'all griping. He was a sucker then, he was a punk then, he was an idiot then, and he's an asshole now, just like he was when he first entered into our government, and probably even before that as well, the garbage that he have done, and then come in with his lying and the twisting. Same thing what Nixon did with Anti-Funk. He brought this idiot in from the NIDS laboratory, and he talked about he don't want to leave the NIDS. If he got to leave the NIDS laboratory, he ain't taking the job. But so Nixon gave him the right to run the laboratory and still be a part of the government in that position, talking about disease and control expert and all this bullshit. You know what I'm saying? The same thing we're seeing here with Joe Biden. When he came in off of some bullshit as well, doing garbage shit and all type of shit, and then got up in our government, and they constantly support and keep electing this fucking asshole. So we know who put him there wasn't people with good common sense. Many, you know what I'm saying, like anticipate that at this time next year, there will be they will be dealing with a new president, Donald J. Trump administration, one defined by skepticism towards Europe, a a what a striding strain or a striding strain of right wing isolationisms, I guess, and a hard resolve and a hard resolve to put confronting China above other global priorities. In the run-up to this week's NATO Criminal Organization Summit in Washington, D.C., political and the German newspapers will embarked together on reporting projects for Trump's possible return to the White House. Reporters for both publications interviewed more than 50 diplomats, lawmakers, experts, and political strategists, uh, strategists, I guess, in NATO nations and elsewhere. Many NATO criminal organizations and many criminal crooks elsewhere, many of those people were granted, anonymity to speak about sensitive matters of diplomacy and international security. Yeah, who's speaking for us is a bunch of crooks in itself. What emerged from reporting was the picture of the world already bending to Trump, will and scrambled, uh, bending to Trump, will and scrambling to include itself against the disruption and crisis that he might incite. Instigate. Yeah, you're back with that lying ass piece of shit too. In many respective NATO criminal organization member states feel far more confidence of their ability to handle Trump than they did when he first came to power. 7.5 years ago, as total amateur on the world stage, that is in part because these countries are laying the groundwork on managing his political resurrection. They're preparing. Their preparation falls into categories. The first, the first, there is a extensive personal outreach to Trump and his advisors in a hope of building a relationship that will help minimize conflict. I agree with that. Second, there is a policy shift amid amid at pleasing Trump and his political coalition, chiefly by uh, smoothing, I guess it smoothing smooth Trump, Trump's complaint about inadequate European defense spending. Third, there are creative diplomats and legal measures in the works to armor NATO priority against the tampering by Trump administration. Yeah, NATO NATO seem to have a whole lot of power, don't it, when it speaks for the United States. I noticed that. Talking about an alliance. See, when you have these alliances, you got to be very careful about the alliance that are formed because when these alliances are formed, they're not always formed for the people. They're not always formed by the people. What the people have done has support a leadership or a crooked set of motherfuckers, you know what I'm saying, in our country that has led to straight bullshit and possibly the destruction of your world. So when you talk about alliance of these different nations and the different people, you know what I'm saying, you're only talking about their leadership. You're not talking about the common people in all these countries. So we know that they have a formed alliance based on leadership that are being voted in by your hands and the gathering of these demon Democrats by even black people and many other groups of people, you know what I'm saying, needs to now wake up as they do. They should not be voting or allowing NATO to prioritize tampering by his administration against the NATO garbage that you are doing, fueled and fed by United States money, just like Netanyahu and this other idiot on the other side, all chumped up, all concocted up by poor and garbage ass leadership and Zionistical motherfuckers within, you know what I'm saying, doing bullshit across our planet Earth and the globe as a global effect. So we have to start to think about this NATO shit more seriously because they intend to keep on pushing even long after Joe Biden is gone and pushing wars and now coming in as the new world order and the new rule over the United States. You must wake up to this. You know what I'm saying? And this is what happened. It says taking together, it starts to look like a plausible strategy for managing the turbulence of a Trump led world. Still, even the NATO nations, criminal organization, and then the criminal NATO nation leaders that lead in nation that is a part of this NATO bullshit against the people will to join in this bullshit while you get billions and billions of dollars and they tell us they can't bring the gas down, the gas prices going up, they got your rent hooked up to the stock market, so every time the stock market goes up your rent goes up and gas and everything else, but yet still sending billions and billions of dollars to everyone else except the American people pockets in general. You know what I'm saying? This is something that the demon Democrats have always did. You know what I'm saying? They have robbed the American people and the whole United States while they're telling you that they can't do this and they can't do that. They're steady robbing you and supporting every criminal act across the planet in your name. Plausible strategy to say the turbulence and so forth from Trump-led world. Still, even NATO criminal organization leaders driving this approach, acknowledge that much of this project may ultimately be at the mercy of Donald J. Trump individual whims. Of course, the biggest challenge is we don't know, and I think nobody knows exactly what he will do, said one diplomat from the NATO country. We need to kick you the fuck off our planet, kick you the fuck out, dismantle your shitty ass alliance, and start an alliance that truly means well for the common people of the world. And if Trump wants to create a great legacy for himself, this is one job that he must do in all ways. We can keep the alliance, but not under no NATO alliance. It is under the world country, or we should say the world, it would be under the world's, it would be called the World Alliance, the Global Alliance, we should say, a global alliance of nations that are prepared to stand ground for the good of the people. You got to remember something. Not everybody's into government. Placing a vote doesn't put you in government. You're just a common citizen going about your daily works like everyone else, and you're voting in order to vote people in to be able to have a free election that these people. Well, what free election and election does is it makes these set of people rule over you for years and years and years, just like dictatorship. It's just that they're telling you that you're voting them in, but they set it up as a way that even if you voted them in, they're still passing the baton from one to another, from one wicked set of bullshit motherfuckers all the way down. That's Carter, Ford, Nixon, all of them, Reagan, all of them passing the baton straight down to create Joe Biden, Obama, and Bush, and all the rest of them dumb fucking idiots. But when Trump, when Trump first came into office, they're saying the West was in the state of relatively calm, and the U.S. alliance mostly hoped that they could wait out an American political meltdown for 4 years. What meltdown? There wasn't no meltdown. It was a melt up and a melt calm. Their thinking is different this time. Now that it is clear that Trumpism is no passing fad, and the NATO and the criminal organization they call NATO Alliance is confronting far more immediate threats of Europe's security. You know what I'm saying? With weeds, I don't give a flying fuck about none of them motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? We need to clean up our country in all ways. We need to have a standing, protectable ground that protects the freedom of all people who come into our nation and those that are here and have been here for hundreds of years, from generation to generation, the dawns of generation to now. You know what I'm saying? To now come down to the government trying to lie to us and tell us all kinds of bullshit nonsense just because we elected some shitty ass group of people over many years. Anybody can make a mistake. You know what I'm saying? What truly makes it great is when one can correct that mistake and maintain the truth of correcting that mistake from there on and forward. So this is Point Black saying, stay right, stay tight. I'm gonna come back on the flight because we ain't done yet. We still in the fight. One.